much, Brendan. Now our next one is going to be Brett Zalaski, who's going to start with the sales training starter kit. But Brett has been fantastic to work with. He's one of the people behind this little brainchild. So without further ado, Brett Zalaski.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? That wasn't good enough for the record. How's everyone doing? Good. I hear mornings are a little rougher on the West Coast than they are on the East Coast, so I wanted to make sure that we got off on the right foot. So Troy gave me the assignment to do the sales training starter kit, and as I thought about the sales training starter kit, I wanted to refocus and really start at the beginning. You're going to hear a lot today about technology, as you just did. You're going to hear a lot today on the millennials, managing, all that stuff. I wanted to bring it all the way back down to the basics as we got this conversation going. So this is my company, Get After It Sales. Just 3 seconds on me, 2 areas I want to focus. One, I started my sales career at a place called the Corporate Executive Board, or CEB, which just came out with a book called The Challenger Sale, which is about 5 years old now. And again, it's a company that I'm very proud of, but it taught us that we had to be really creative in the way that we approached companies and organizations, and the way that we thought about it, because our job was literally to try to talk to the most difficult to talk to people in the entire country. My job was to call heads of advertising and marketing communications for Fortune 500, Global 3,000 companies. So I had to really think about, and not just over the phone or an email, so I had to really think about the way that I presented myself, the way I talked about myself, and the way I put myself out there. Then, flash forward a few years, I had the opportunity to start the National Sales Center for Major League Soccer. And one of the things that teaching at the National Sales Center taught me was that I really had to work with reps to help them identify and get their own identity, their own creativity out through that sales process, and to use their natural set of emotion to get them going to help make that sale. So that's a lot of what we're going to focus on this morning. Creativity, emotion, how do you make sure that you supercharge that into what you're doing from a sales perspective. That's me on Twitter, so I'd love everyone to give it a follow quick as we go through. That's a hashtag I use as we go. Today, want to help focus. I'm obviously trying to make money, but I want to have this be fun too. So if anybody that's been around me, if anyone's seen me talk, you'll know that I thoroughly enjoy talking about ticket sales, and I love talking about sports business. There are 2 things that I'm incredibly passionate about. So I want to make sure that those come out through the conversation today. And selling yourself comes down to 2 things. And I know that sounds really basic and really down to earth, but it really does come down to 2 things. One, it comes down to being your true, unique self in the sales process. So people that have seen this before are not allowed to say this, but who knows what scene in the movie Aladdin this is? Because this is truly one of my all-time favorite movies. Don't feel awkward if you think you know. Someone's got to know. Yes. So, in this scene, Prince Ali, who has just become Prince Ali, is standing there trying to talk to Jasmine. Now, what is one of the biggest issues that Jasmine's having, and why is she rejecting Prince Ali? Because he's not being himself. He's not being authentic. He's not being real. So at some point, Aladdin comes back, slips, and the magic carpet catches him, right? It's all about being authentic. It's all about being real. It's all about being someone that people want to connect to when you get them on the phones. And I think that's one of the things that we miss all the time. We become so concerned with what's on the front of our jersey that we forget about what's on the back of our jersey. Did they just have a conversation with someone from the Boston Celtics, or did they just have a conversation with Brett Zalaski from the Boston Celtics? What type of impression are you leaving on the people that you sell to? And second, and this is really important, apparently this is like a horror movie from the 20s or something, but this conversation is all about them. It's 100% about the people that you're on the phone with. We talk about this a lot in my sales trainings, but are you surveying people when you sell to them, or are you actually really trying to learn about them? You know, are you saying, oh, how was your experience? Great, who did you come with? Where did you sit? Okay, here's what we have to offer. Or are you spending the time to really get to know the people that you're selling to? And make sure that this conversation feels genuinely about those people. So we're going to do an exercise. Do we have that mic again? Did Troy walk off with it? Oh, great. Now, I want to be as authentic as possible. We're going to sell this pen. And we're not doing this Wolf of Wall Street style where I don't have a pen. In fact, I'm going to show you that I literally have more pens than I have in my bag. I'm going to show you I have way more pens than I actually know what to do with. Now, I need a volunteer to help sell the pen, but I want to go over a few features of the pen first. That should prove that I'm not at a shortage of pens. All right, so a couple features about this pen. One, it's gold. It has platinum embossing, so all that silver stuff is platinum. Still incredibly light, right? It writes in blue or black ink, depending on what you want to do. That's a swizzle top that actually goes down, so you can write in either felt tip or fountain. It costs $250, and there's only 1,000 of them made a year. Oh, and one more thing. That actually has 8 gigabytes of RAM on it, so you can plug it into your computer, and it actually can, serve as a way to get information from point A to point B. Now, someone's going to be a hero who wants to do this, but who wants to try to sell me this pen? Stanford, you cannot. I'll tell you the best way to try to sell me this pen is to not make eye contact with me. I need one hero. All right, you want to try it? Yeah. Good start. All right, so we are walking into your, what's your name?
Phil?
Phil? All right, Phil, we're walking into your pen emporium. All right, and I just happened to stroll in. So, I mean, you can sit down and do it, you can stand up here and do it, you can do this however you want. All right, it's probably a good idea. Go for it.
Hi, welcome today. What can I help you with?
My girlfriend is just down the hall at Talbot's, and I'm a huge fan of pens. I mean, I've never been in a pen emporium before, so I didn't want to bother down there, so this seems way more interesting.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. We have some great products. What kind of pen are you looking for today?
I'm not necessarily in the market for pens. I just really like pens, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, I mean, if you're looking for all kinds of pens, we have this really great pen. I mean, it's made of platinum, gold. It could be, used as a fountain pen or.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great pen.
How much does it cost?
It costs $250.
That seems really, really expensive. I'm not sure. I basically steal, as you can see, I steal hotel pens. So literally, I steal hotel pens. I guess that sounds great. It looks cool, but my budget's $0. I don't think about spending $250.
Well, how often do you use pens?
All the time. I love writing. I think I'm pretty old school that way. I've always got a notebook. I'm always writing down notes, constantly writing.
What kind of things do you write down? What do you?
Notes, especially when I'm teaching sales training. I like to write down people's names because I have a tendency to forget those pretty quickly, so it's a nice cheat sheet. I like to write down key takeaways whenever I get thoughts from my blog. I like writing that stuff down. I love having a notebook around me, always writing.
Okay. Well, the great thing with this pen is that it also has 8 gigs of RAM, so you can download documents to it.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a great pen.
It is. It looks like a phenomenal pen. I mean, it really does. But just not personally in the market for one. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. No, good try. Give him a round of applause. That's good. Thank you. First of all, that is almost literally impossible to do. There are a lot of people here, by the way. So that's really impressive. But that's a lot of time very reminiscent of what happens and what we do on the phone. Now, I have spent $250 on a pen, literally. I bought it for an ex-girlfriend, so it seems like a bad investment at this point. But what my ex-girlfriend, what I bought it for was she had just got promoted into a position that she was actually pretty uncomfortable about. So she was going to be very uncomfortable about going in and sitting in these meetings, doing senior management stuff. And one of the reasons I bought the pen is I'm a horrible clothes shopper. Like for myself and for her, I'm terrible at it. So I didn't want to have to buy her a suit or buy her something or a dress, then I was clearly going to screw that up. So I thought if I bought her a pen, at least in all the meetings that she was in, she could have the nicest pen in the room. So every time that we do this exercise, everyone focuses on me, my business, me wearing a suit, trying to sell me the features and benefits of that pen, and we forget that there is a human underneath all of this, and that we need to truly understand what drives me, what motivates me, what gets me out there and performing, and why this is important, and why this is cool. So I sold business-to-business stuff, right? You know, I was there literally selling pieces of paper. So one of the things that's always been so cool to me about selling sports is that you get to be, and you get to talk emotionally about what you're talking about. First of all, sorry if there are any Red Sox fans in the house. This is the Aaron Boone home run game. And I was at this game, and I will never forget being there, not when this happened, but a couple innings before, Jorge Posada hit a bloop single to center field to tie up the game off Pedro Martinez. And I will literally never forget the whole stadium getting up on their feet as the ball was kind of hoping to drop in and hearing the entire place go bonkers when the ball landed and that was done. We sell these experiences all the time and we forget about that. We forget that these people are going to be remembering these exercises and things for the rest of their lives in the conversations that we talk about. Next, this is a picture of me and my sister-in-law. It's actually funny. Her parents live down here, and I just spent a weekend with her parents. So my brother's in-law's parents I just spent a weekend with when I was down here a little while ago. But that's, her name's Kate. And Kate was a defensive soccer player in college. One of the people that I got to know being in sports was Kat Whitehill, who was commentating the game last night for the Women's World Cup. And Kate knew her as Kat Reddick when she was one of the best defenders for the U.S. women's national team. And I've actually kept in touch with Kat over the years. And Kat got us tickets to this game. But what was so unique and so genuine about this experience was every time that I'd hung out with Kate prior to this, my brother had been there. So it's getting to know Kate through Keith. This was a game where I just got to take Kate out. We spent 2 hours talking with each other, found out that we probably have way more in common than me and my brother do. In fact, we text about The Voice and The Bachelorette all the time. But it was 2 hours that I will never take back because it elevated the relationship with someone that was incredibly close to me. And this is more important than wins and losses, what's on the front of our jersey. It's about getting time with people you care about. It's about getting time and spending that opportunity to focus on driving and moving your business forward. Wins and losses don't matter. We use them as an excuse all the time as to why people are or aren't coming. And that may be true on an individual game level, but the people in this room sell hospitality, we sell season tickets, we sell group tickets. And for all of those types of tickets, it matters so much more, the emotional side, this type of component, and we forget to bring it up. Selling that pen is really, really tough. But there was an emotional need why that pen mattered and why that pen was important to me. And that happens in sports all the time. And we get so caught up in selling every single day that we forget to talk and focus on this emotional component as we go through the process. Being businesses, selling to consumers, selling seasons, selling groups to affinity, we're in the business of helping people have these types of memories and experiences. We lump and try to get people into these groups immediately when we get on the phone. Season tickets, mini plans, group tickets, hospitality. We want to categorize and we want to bucket people almost automatically when we get on the phone. That's why we ask those survey questions. And so we need to get these things out of our head when we start that conversation. How many games did you come to? Oh, I came to 2 games. Must be a mini plan buyer, right? We have the tendency to do that in every conversation that we have, and we need to step away from it. And we need to remove ourselves from thinking about this. So as opposed to going in and bucketing people on this, what I've always taught my reps is you need to go in thinking about selling all of these people, all of these things to that one person. I don't care if they're a millennial. I don't care if they're an Ohio State student when I was in Columbus. I'm going to figure out how this person can buy a mini planner season tickets, how they can buy group tickets, and how they can buy hospitality on the front end. Those are the things that I'm going to focus on when I get on the phones. If I effort to try to sell them all of those things and get them to contribute and talk about all of those things, I am going to maximize each conversation and each relationship that I have. So, Troy, I've got 1 minute left. That's what I didn't think, but yeah, that's what I thought, right? Good. I was getting the countdown, so it's all right. So what we have a tendency to do is once we ask the questions, once we pull through this, I call it, we get open-ended question fatigue, and we throw out what I call the kitchen sink. We just went to black. We go into what I call kitchen sink phenomenon, which is literally, all right, screw it, this person isn't talking to me, so here's everything that we have to offer. I hope they agree, and I hope they say something that they want to buy. And we have to get away from all of this. It's not their job to buy our tickets. No one's paying them to talk to us. It's our job, it's our responsibility. We need to get them to contribute to the conversation. So who wants to be tough with me when we start a conversation? Ken, you want to be tough with me?
What's that?
You want to be tough with me? Yeah. We'll start a conversation. So Ken, what sport do we want to go to? Someone throw it out. The team. BC Lions, right? Right, Ben? All right, BC Lions. So you're an individual game buyer. So how was your experience at the game?
My hot dog was cold, my kid fried. Really that good, actually.
No, you know what? This may not surprise you, but we hear that from time to time in our conversation. So, getting away from those two things, what did you like about the experience? What brought you out in the first place?
My kid wanted to go, but it was kind of a meeting because the traffic was bad getting in there.
Sure.
And the parking attendant really didn't know where to send me, so I wound up walking a lot further.
I'm sorry to hear that, obviously.
The kid has a broken toe.
Sure. Well, so
Walk him a long way here and cry.
I can understand. So tell me more about why your kid wanted to go. What got him excited about coming out in the first place?
Well, he started playing youth soccer when he was a kid, so when he was little.
Yeah.
4 years old, they all run around in a little pack.
Yeah, sure.
Chase after the ball.
Yep.
And he started to like it, and he was kind of watching a game on TV.
Sure.
So I decided I would take him out to show him live, because I think that sports is important in a kid's upbringing, because you can find a hero, someone to kind of idolize.
Yeah.
Potentially, there's a lot of bad too.
Sure.
But
What's important about bringing him out to the game to be able to see those people? What's important to you about that?
just to kind of see like the flow of the game.
All right, so we just completely took, and again, Ken was trying to be very difficult, but again, making sure that we focus on them as a human, and making sure, that we're sympathetic to the experience and challenges that they have, but driving them to think about the positive experience, why they wanted to come out in the first place, what matters to them, what's important to them in these conversations, and I'm going to keep driving down each one of those areas. Those survey questions that we talked about, they're important questions, right? Like, who did you come with? Where did you sit? Right? Those are important questions. Why did you go out to the game? How was your experience? Those are important questions. But if we don't dig down in each one of those areas to really figure out what was important to them about each one of those things. You came out with your friends. What was important about coming out with your friends? Who else do you want to share that experience with? Who else do you not get enough time to be able to spend with? We need to make sure that in all these conversations and everything we do, we keep all this information as a focus. So I told you a little bit about this when we started. And so this was a book written by the company that I started with. And what they found in sales, that the higher complexity of the sale, the more genuine the experience that they want to have with the person they're speaking to. The more they want to trust that person, the more they want to believe that person, the more they want to look to that person as a trusted advisor in the process of sales. And don't get me wrong, I don't care if you're making a Ticketmaster lead list call. Sports sales is a high complexity sale. Why is sports sales a high complexity sale? Nobody needs our product. Nobody actually needs what we're buying. And we have multiple solutions towards every challenge or problem that someone might have. Don't kid yourself about what we do on a day in, day out basis. It is a highly complex, very difficult sale. And so you need to remember that you are the expert. And I found this in an Inc.com article, and I've absolutely loved this because this is the mentality, this is the mantra that you need to take into any conversation. I don't care if you're corporate partnerships, season ticket sales, group sales, hospitality sales, inside sales, wherever you are, this is the mentality that you need to take into every conversation. 1, experts tell, consultants ask. We're not consultants, we are experts in the conversations that we're having. 2, experts lead, consultants follow. Experts teach, consultants learn. And finally, experts are full, consultants are empty. And I actually, when I get on a call, I like to think about this in the reverse order. I am going to come to this conversation full of ideas and thoughts and ways that people can use these tickets. I am going to teach them new ideas and thoughts and approaches that they can take to making that buy. Terrific. You came out with your friends. What about your dad? What about your brother? What other friends do you have that might enjoy this experience? I'm going to make sure that I teach them during this process new ways to think about utilizing tickets. I'm going to lead them towards the conversation that they should want to have. And finally, I'm going to tell them what they should buy. We spend so much time as a salesperson in this game of hoping they're going to tell us what they want during the process that we need to be spending more time filtering what they should buy in this process towards the back end of the conversation. And that only comes through knowing the people you're talking to. It's the creepiest waiter I could find on the internet. How many people have a background in the service industry? Bartending, that's it. Seriously, more people have had to be bartenders, servers, waiters, hosts, any of that stuff. So I bartended for a few years. And this was one of my all-time favorite questions. Because I stopped being an order taker in this moment, right? In this moment, I stopped being an order taker, and I was allowed to really put myself out there, my personality, my thoughts, my creativity. Now, this could hit a pretty bad end. So Colby, what's your least favorite type of food? Like if you went to a restaurant, there's no way you'd order this. Cauliflower. Can we up it a little bit so it might be like an entree or something? You know what? Screw it. Say, we're talking about appetizers and say what would you recommend? Just ask me what would you recommend. You know what? We have an incredible steamed and grilled cauliflower that is the best in the state. What are you going to say? So awkward, right? But that happens all the time. Don't we hate when they recommend something that's either 1, something we hate, or 2, something that's a little bit too expensive, right? Well, I could get the French dip sandwich for $14, or I could get the prime rib for $50. Well, more French dip, but I know you're the waiter, so I know you're going to say $50. So let's try this differently. Ron, ask me what would you recommend? Well, you know what are you in the mood for? Meat. So when you say meat, are you more of a red meat, white meat? Red meat. So are you thinking tonight is more of a steak night, more of a burger night? Steak night. When you think about your steak, is it something that you just like cooked and then have everything around it and the marinade be what you want? Or do you like stuff that's cooked into it, baked into it, that kind of helps release the flavor? It's really getting complex. It is, right? It is. What do you think? What do you prefer? The marinated or the stuff where it's really more cooked into it? More cooked into it. What are your thoughts on peppercorns? No on pepper. What's that? I like blue cheese. You like blue cheese? Well, terrific. It's your lucky night. We have a beautiful blue cheese, butter dressing. You've probably been out of the food industry for a while. Steak marinade. That's delicious with a great side of whatever you like. Absolutely, it's awesome, right? Our recommendations become better the more information that we get, the more questions we ask, and the better tip I'll probably receive for trying just a little bit harder. When people agree to have a conversation with you on the phones, and you actually have an opportunity to engage with them, I know a lot of people hang up on us in the first 30 seconds. I'm not saying that's going to change. When people get into a phone conversation with you, they are asking you this. They are consenting to this. They're looking at you as the expert. They want you to say what they should get because they have no idea. I have been outside of sports, and I've been outside of sports prior to the internet being big. And I can tell you, the least informed consumers about anything on the planet are sports buyers, which gives us the opportunity to make strong recommendations about what people will buy because they are going to benefit from engaging with our product. We're not selling them a used car that's going to break down 50 miles down the road. We are going and giving them experiences they'll remember the rest of their lives. And that's really important to focus on when we think about this statement. But that also comes with us making strong statements and strong recommendations. And this is where I feel, or I know, most sales reps fall down a little bit. When I was working at the Crew, we were having some struggles with our inside sales team. And me and my inside sales manager were sitting in the room trying to listen to what was happening and hearing what was happening. And something kept coming up. We kept hearing kinda, sorta, maybe, might be. Those are not words of experts. So we focused on something we called big, hairy, audacious statements. How do you make big, hairy, audacious statements on the phone that is going to make people connect to your product? So that's my big, hairy, audacious dude. You guys can name him if you want to. Use the hashtag for hashtag SSBC. Feel free to name this guy. But what do big, hairy, audacious statements sound like? One, you need to speak intelligently about our team. You know, I know a lot of times, and I've heard a lot of times, you need to know enough about the team to be dangerous. I slightly disagree. This is your job. This is what you do on a day in, day out basis. You should spend time investing in your team and your sport and who you are so you can speak passionately about your team. People want to connect with that. They want to hear you be a fan on the phone. Business to business, business to consumer, either way, they want to know that you're a fan of the product and you know what you're talking about. I don't know where to point this thing. The next is speak intelligently about how our products solve challenges. I'm not saying that you need to understand what your products are. You do. But I'm saying that you as a salesperson need to know how that product solves a challenge. And then you need to speak passionately about how those products solve challenges. You need to be invested in why it's important for those people to spend more time with their brothers and sisters, why it's important for them to spend time with their clients at the games. You don't need to just be able to say those things. You need to speak passionately, and you need to tell them success stories that they've had along the way. And you need to check yourself and the people around you and eliminate those non-big, hairy, audacious statement words. So do you kinda, sorta, maybe? I don't know, want to get the 4-pack? Does that sound good? I think everyone's laughing because everybody knows they do that. We have a hard time really putting ourselves out there when it comes to these conversations, and we need to make sure that we come across as the people that are more sure of this than they are. You've told me how that you want to spend more time with your son and putting them in positions to be able to watch soccer players on the field be able to play and grow. We just went through our renewal process, and we have some of the best seats available from the people that didn't come back right now. But they are going to go incredibly quickly. This is the time that you need to jump on it right now. Otherwise, you are not going to have the experience that we both just talked about. How does that sound? Right? We need to be firm and strong in the way that we approach and address people, and we can't use kinda, sorta, maybe, might be. It's going to be hard. We all use them. I still use them. But we need to eliminate those words because those words make an impact on the other person. They create doubt in the buyer. So we are going to do an exercise. We have way too many people for everybody to do the exercise. But I want to have two groups doing an exercise that we call Clams Are Great. This is an improvisational comedy exercise that I learned that I think has terrific ramifications for selling in sports. And I want to try to get as many people behind this product as I can. So who here are in groups as teams? So who's here with a bunch of people on the team? All right, we're going to have you guys go second. I'm going to ask who those teams are. Now, who's here more individually? All right, I need the individuals on this half to come up here on that side. And I need the individuals on this half to come up here on this side. There's got to be more. Come on, this is fun, right? 7:30 in the morning. All right, that's what I like to see. There we go. This is terrific. All right. Here, you want to go over there? You right? Yeah. So, how we play this game. Each group is going to circle up, and there's going to be one person in the middle. So you guys are going to make a circle, and there's going to be one person in the middle. Circle up, one person in the middle. Who's in the middle? Attaboy, Bill. It's nice when you get the other trainers participating. So, in this game, the person in the middle that are going to say, clams are great because. And then just whatever it is. Clams are great because they're found in the ocean. Clams are great because you can boil them down and make rocket fuel. And to go to the moon. There's no limitations on what you can say clams can do. Now, the people on the outside, whatever the person in the middle says, what's your name? Michael? Whatever Michael says, this circle needs to react like it is the most incredible thing that's ever been said about clams. Oh, yeah, absolutely, right on, rocket fuel for sure, right? No matter what he says, they need to react like that is the greatest, smartest thing that's ever been said about clams. You guys got that? Yeah. I trust you. You guys got that? Yeah. You guys better be loud. All right, you ready? Go.
Clams are great because the muscle preservation society.
There you go. Let everybody in.
Clams are great because they smell good.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. Oh yeah, hey, last rule. Sorry, totally forgot one. This was important. The people on the outside, Bill and Michael will keep going until someone on the outside tags them out. So they keep going with this until someone on the outside tags them out, then that person's in the middle. Mercifully tags them out. Go for it.
Clams are good because they come in shells.
Great. Clams are great. They're great. Clams are great.
Clams are great because they go well in soup.
Soup. Who doesn't love soup? Favorite. Who doesn't love soup?
Clams are great because they come in the ocean.
Yeah!
Clams are great because you can get them in a can.
There you go.
Clams are great because they go well with my suit.
Yeah!
Clams are great because I love going to the ball games with them. Clams are great because they go well with the internet.
Oh yeah,
Clams are great because they go well with yellow.
Yeah!
Clams are great because they have pearls inside of them.
Yeah!
Clams are great. They have a wonderful color. Yes, a nice sheen. Really got a whole lot going on there. Clams are great. They make great companions. You get home, you know, I have a great friend, make stew, you can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah! Great job.
There we go. Clams are great because they provide electricity. Clams are great because they are free Wi-Fi. Clams are great for shoes. Clams are amazingly comfortable to wear.
Wear on shoes.
Shoes, yes.
All right, I'll go.
Clams are great because you can eat them fried.
Yeah!
Clams are great because you can find them on the East Coast. And the West Coast. Clams are great because they go great with steak. Go great with steak. Clams are great because they help us sell tickets.
Yeah. All right, we'll end on that one. These guys grab a seat. Clap it up for them. Thank them. Thank you. Yeah, you guys are good. All right, thinking about what we just talked about, why do you think I love this exercise? Well, first of all, yeah, why do you think I love this exercise? Let's go with that. Seemed like a good question. Well, it sure does, yeah. Why do I like this exercise? Thinking about everything that we just talked about. What do you mean? Positive conversations, he said. So when you're in the middle, it helps when the people on the outside are clapping and being positive and reinforcing what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. So thinking about that on the other end, the conversation that I had with Ken, a lot of times it's our job to cheer them on to have these conversations and to get them to want to talk. What made Ken open up and start talking and not focusing on his negative experiences? What part of that conversation did that? When he started talking about his kid, right? And the importance of having that kid be able to watch professional athletes and grow. Those are the types of conversations that we want to make sure that we effort to have. So I'm going to cheer Ken on to try to get that information out of him. Now, what else? What about this specific game, thinking about big, hairy, audacious statements? Why do I like this game specifically for that, or this exercise? Yeah, Bill? What do you mean?
Here's why.
Sure.
Oh, it might be, or it could be, but here's why.
Yeah, and what are you doing it about? Clams. Like, I do this exercise in just about every training I do, because this is one of the most important things that I think I talk about. And you're talking about clams. In all the trainings I've done, I've had literally one person who genuinely actually knew stuff about clams. Just one person who was just like, clams are this, they're found here, like, blah, this is their calorie intake. Like, it was amazing. But only one person this. People genuinely have no idea about clams. So if you can think and talk and be positive about the way that you think about this and strong in the way that you communicate and talk about clams, how can you not do that about professional sports and the experience that your team provides and the opportunities that your stadium provide when you go out and actually have to sell? Now, the second exercise that we do, I said, and hope that there's some teams here. Who's one of the teams over here? 49ers. So if the 49ers can come up here and circle up. And then what's another team that's here? Who's another team?
Cal's here.
Cal, all right. If Cal wants to come up and circle up over here. That is a lot of 49ers. All right, you guys are good. You guys, everyone else can go back. That's not you. You stay. No, hey! All right, that's a signal for Uber. Make it a circle. All right. Good job, Cal. That's impressive. Again, someone in the middle from Cal, someone in the middle from the 49ers to start. So, what this round is going to be is, for Cal, it's going to be the Cal experience is great because is going to be the line that you say in the middle. And for the 49ers, it's going to be the 49ers experience is great because, and we'll give the 49ers the mic.
Oh, of course. Are we starting?
Yeah, go for it. Remember, everyone on the outside, you got to cheer it on.
And
go for it.
The 49ers is great. What?
Because the 49ers
The 49ers experience is great because it's the best team in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
49ers experience is the best because we hold pride to our heart.
Yeah.
49ers experience is great because we have awesome tours. 49ers experience is great because we have an awesome new head coach.
Yeah.
Jimmy too. Yeah, thanks.
The 49ers experience is great because we have tradition. The 49ers experience is great because we have award-winning customer service. The 49ers experience is great because we have the best sales staff in professional sports. The 49ers experience is great because of all of our Super Bowl trophies.
That's a good one.
The 49ers experience is great because we have Levi's Stadium, which is the sports facility of the year.
Get into it. That's exciting. Say it out there.
The Levi's Stadium experience is great because we have 5 Lombardi trophies.
Absolutely.
The 49ers experience is great because we have a $1.4 billion brand new stadium.
The 49er experience is great because Jerry Rice.
All right, everyone take a seat. Good job. Good job. Good job. Take a seat. I got it. Thanks. All right, so why do you think I like to do that second level of this exercise on top of the first one? So you have to do them both at once. But why do you think I like this second level of this exercise?
It's easier to speak about than clams.
Sometimes, right? Especially when you're doing it in front of your peers and then 100 other people.
Well, you can speak big and audacious about clams that you know nothing about.
Yep,
Try bringing it home and speaking passionately and big and audacious about something that you know.
absolutely. Why else do you think I like this? So why don't I just have this game where one person's moving around in a circle saying this about themselves? Specifically the second one.
Part of it's listening to your teammates and sort of evolving into what they're really reflecting on, and then you're really challenging yourself to say, all right, let me come up with something new, but let's also recognize what's really resonating amongst my colleagues that they're going to go to themselves.
There's no question. Some of the most valuable pieces of information that you can find are listening to your peers. I really struggled when I started at CEB. I was about to be fired at 2.5 or 3 months. And the thing that really changed was not just making an attitude that I was going to make more calls than everybody else, but I spent an hour every day finding people in the company that were doing the job better than I was doing. And I sat down with them and I asked them what was being so successful. I listened to them when they were on the phones, and that helped drive me to be a better salesperson. Listening to my peers, filtering it, thinking about it. Is that something I'd say? If it's something I like, but that's not how I'd say it, how would I say it? Is some of the most valuable learning that you can find. We used to love to do these exercises right when we were about to go on sale for group tickets or season tickets, because it's a great reminder early in the morning sometimes that we have a fun, cool, exciting product, and that we don't just talk about it in the way that we think about it. There's all different ways to talk about our product, and to do it using a very strong, very powerful voice on the back end of it, because that's what the person on the other end of the phone wants to connect to. They want to connect to someone that's being genuine. Again, when you get to the end of your conversations, are they saying, that I just had a conversation with the 49ers, or are they saying, I just had a conversation with Brett from the 49ers? That is a huge difference in terms of the way that you go out and sell and the impression that you leave on people when you do it. And so I bring this up at the end of this because this was something I got taught way back in the day at CEB. I call it the mirror test because the most difficult person to look at in the mirror is you. To literally stare at yourself in the mirror is incredibly difficult. We look at ourselves in the mirror all the time, but we're looking at our hair, we're looking at our clothes, we're doing everything but making eye contact with ourselves. And so one of the things that I was taught that we need to focus on in every conversation, and again, I was taught this back at CEB, especially when I was struggling, is how do you answer these questions when you look at yourself in the mirror? I wouldn't do it in your own facility because that might get awkward if you're found. I would do it if you have a roommate or a husband or a wife when they're not in the house so they don't catch you having this conversation, but having an honest conversation with yourself about these 3 questions. 1, are you naturally curious about the needs of every customer? When I get on the phone, am I surveying them, or am I really, truly learning about the people that are on the other end of the phone, and do I care about the needs and the thoughts of the person on the other end of the phone? I used to say this: if I'm not a B+, I'm not making the call. If I'm a B minus personally, I've had a little bit of a tough day, things aren't totally going my way. If I can't get on the phone and believe that I'm going to make a sale, I'm not doing just myself and my team an injustice. I'm doing that person on the other end of the phone an injustice by not giving them everything that we have. Am I naturally curious about the needs of every customer, and I make sure that I'm a B+ on every call? Does your personality and excitement shine through on every call? I hope people have seen today my passion for sports and sports ticket sales and why I'm a part of this. But when people get off the phone, do they get off the phone with the team, or do they get off the phone with Brett from the team? Is it a memorable, thoughtful experience for that person? And finally, and I think this is so critically important, if you called you about season tickets, group tickets, hospitality, would you buy your own pitch? If I got a phone call from Brett, would I buy season tickets? And that's really difficult, because for a lot of people, we are our most difficult buyers. We know all our ins and outs. Sometimes we don't even necessarily have enough money to buy tickets for the products that we have. It's not even in our budgets. But would our pitch be so strong, so convincing, so memorable that we would buy what we're selling? And I'll tell you what, I don't always answer all three of these questions yes for me right now. There are times when some of these questions are out of whack. When I have a call about doing ticket sales training with a team, there are times where I get off the phone and I say, you know what, I didn't spend enough time asking about that team. I didn't learn enough about that team that I'm trying to work with to make sure that what I'm doing is going to be beneficial for what they're working on right now. Sometimes I can still get so caught up in how excited I am about my product and what I'm talking about that happens. Sometimes I get off the phone and maybe I've been traveling for a week, right? And I'm tired and I have a call. And I'm not a B+. I'm calling and talking to that person as a B or a B-, and I'm just that sales trainer they talked to that one time. Sometimes I get off the phone because I've been at a team. I've led a sales team. I get off the phone and say, man, if I called me about being a sales trainer, I probably wouldn't have bought that. I would not have jumped on board for that. Right? I don't answer yes to all these questions. But when I ask these questions consistently of myself, I become better in that moment for that short period of time. Sales is like sports, right? Steph Curry can go 19 for 21 one game, but he can also go 3 for 20 in a game. And those 3 for 20s happens. Mike Trout can go 0 for 4 with 3 Ks and then hit 2 home runs the next day. Those games happen. But do you learn from the games where you went 0 for 4 and make sure that you don't make that mistake the next time you pick up the phone? And I think that's where these questions really, really helped. How much time left? 1 minute. Cool. Thank you, everyone. I had a blast doing this. And I hope you're all appreciative of what Troy has put together here. I know the value in listening to different sales trainers. I've hired different sales trainers. I've been around different sales trainers. And so the opportunity to hear 8, 9, 10 different points of view about sales in a particular day should be an incredibly valuable experience. And for most of today, I'm going to be here alongside most of you learning just as much as anyone else, because that process doesn't ever stop for me. So thank you very much, and over to Troy.